right. And we are live. Yo, 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 yo. It's your boy, Awesome as JL, aka the biggest music artist in the metaverse. And right now, as a special guest today, we have none other than Jay Florence. How's it going, man? How are you
Oh,
feeling?
beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for the intro and good to be here.
Definitely, definitely, man. We're just gonna jump right into it. I was actually in a amazing space hosted by Ethos, probably I want to say about a week ago, and I had the chance of hearing you talk about ReddCoin and different things that you guys are doing with this project, and I was pretty shocked and amazed. Number one, I was shocked because I never heard of this project. And number two, I was amazed by the whole aspect of a social currency, right? Because right now, I think in the middle of this shift, what's going on, and I'm experiencing it too as a content creator, right? A lot of content creators aren't making much money, right? They're not making much money, but their output is amazing. We're putting out all of this different content, only to see a couple pennies from YouTube and a couple pennies from Spotify and all these different streaming services and all these different platforms for content creators, and they're just getting shorted, man. And I actually, it's so funny. Me and my wife actually have these kind of conversations all the time about social currency, and she talks about, you have a lot of social currency, but like, how can we translate that, you know what I mean, into actual currency, or something you can actually use, something, something as simple as going buying groceries or just, catching a cab or anything, you know what I mean? So, that's why it was amazing for me to hear about ReddCoin for the first time on that stage. So with that being said, first of all, Jay, introduce yourself to the audience, tell them who you are and some of your experiences.
Thank you. I would love to. I'm just going to say up front, though, you say you don't know anything about ReddCoin, but you just described the reason we exist, the reason
Mm.
people, and I'll say it now and I'll explain in a little bit, people smarter than I am came up with the master plan to take that people have value and turn it into let's get them some money and some payment and get their groceries paid because and that's really the beauty of what crypto and blockchain and all these things that are really buzzwords to a lot of people. Kind of when the rubber hits the road and you go, okay, well, what can I do with it? Well, you can put up a song or a piece of artwork or a piece of writing, and I can send you some coins and you can cash them out and put money in your pocket. There's not a more straightforward exchange capable than that. And if I can do it around the world and don't have to worry about it getting intercepted in the way in the meantime, we just solved a lot of those problems. So that is what ReddCoin fundamentally is about. And I'll absolutely talk your ear off and your audiences about it. But let me just say, as I said, pleasure to be here. I love that conversations like this spring from groups like Ethos, groups like, I just came from a few days ago. Radical Exchange is a great group doing fantastic work. I've met amazing people through it. All of that is really just about taking the time to reach out to new folks in the space and say, hey, what do you know? And how does that complement what do I know? And what can we do? That's really sort of blockchain crypto decentralization in the social sphere. I mean, that's what we're here for. So it's great to see that happening, and I see folks in my sphere participating in some of this too. And it's just great to see that it's accessible for folks coming into the space, that there are people who are really making sense out of the craziness and what's going on here and trying to put it into English. So kudos to you for doing that and putting in the work that you are. As for who I am, Jay Laurence, I go by Tech Adept as a handle and as an ID in the space here. Um, I am an official Harvard dropout. I don't crow about that. I'm prouder of having left than having really been there. But just as a point of fact, you don't have to have a college degree or a pedigree to really make a mark in this space, and that's something I am very proud of. Um, I came to crypto very early on. I was pretty fortunate. I was in the IT space already. I owned a consulting company for a number of years and had been in corporate IT running networks and security and staffing and all the pieces that go into sort of making things work and fixing them when they break and that was sort of interesting and paid the bills and it was great. But as crypto emerged, it became a bit of a more than just another technology, as I discovered what it was, what you could do with it. I read about it early on in 2009 and forgot about it for a year or so. Got back into it in 2010. I thought it was awesome. You could spin up some software on your computer and mine, and you would be rewarded with, the same feeling you get when you get coins deposited in your wallet today. Imagine when you're the first ones doing it in the world, and you're just seeing it's meaningless. You can't really do much with it, but someone sent me coins. That was the original kind of attitude around, wow, this tech is new and weird and we can do things with it. And that's really where I came from and how I got into the space. Um, I was, as I said, a Bitcoin miner. I was a Dogecoin, part of the Dogecoin community, doing tech support and really helping users get situated with, I always took for granted that I could figure out the tech stuff, but a big part of my technical consulting was help desk and explaining and sort of translating these complex concepts into English. And I just have fallen into that role in the crypto space. So I do a lot of explaining and education and technical support just because it's necessary. And again, that goes back to what crypto really is fundamentally, which is open source, free, shared knowledge, a bunch of geeks sitting in a chat room typing things back and forth to each other and magic comes out. That's sort of the underlying where this space came from. And that's how I came to it. Before the flurry of money and Lambo and Moon and we're all going to get rich, I will admit there absolutely was an aspect in the early days of if you have a coin that's worth X and it goes 50X in a day, that's where a lot of the initial holy cow exuberance came from. And some of that, or a large part of that, has gone away as the space has evolved and people have spun up scam project after scam project. But underlying all of that is this hardcore of folks like myself, mostly far smarter than I am, out there just killing it, just putting things together in ways that you wouldn't imagine. And that's where we get DeFi and all of this evolution of the technology. So I started in the very basic space, of Bitcoin and Ethereum and Dogecoin. I was a user. I was a miner in the ReddCoin in a community when it first was envisioned and launched by the founding team. It came from the fact that on Reddit, which was really sort of a home for the early cryptocurrency projects, there was a lot of bot activity and tipping back and forth for good content. Hey, you said something smart. I like you. Here's a Bitcoin. Here's a million Dogecoin. Here's a million ReddCoin. Just by typing a command into a Reddit comment. And I immediately saw that's fantastic. That's going to be huge. We need to do that. And it wasn't from a let's send people crypto. It's from a let's reward that value. And one of the examples I go back to, because it's really accessible to people, it makes sense. I remember 10, 20 years ago, whatever it was, well, it couldn't have been that long, call it 10 years ago. I've had iPhones that have died. I'm sure everybody else has. You go to plug them in after they've been sitting in a drawer for months and they just won't charge. You get that little red blinking thing and you throw it out and go to the cell phone store and buy another one. I had 4 of them do that. And I ended up sitting in a drawer and I figured there's got to be a way to fix them, save them somehow. And I think one of them had data on it I needed to get. I found a comment on a forum buried in the wilds of the internet. Some guy said, look, all these people complaining that this is what's happening. I've spent years working in mobile device support and repair, and I know about the chemistry. If you take those devices that won't charge and warm them up gently, the chemistry will change, they'll take a charge, and you can use them. Cool. I've saved 5, 6, 7 phones over the years that way, thousands of dollars in hardware, and you can take that climate change, there's an impact to, I didn't have to buy 7 more phones. But at the end of the day, this one dude's expertise and willingness to put that on a website saved me personally thousands of dollars. There has to be a way to give him back some of that and say, hey, thanks, man, you really helped me out. I came to ReddCoin knowing that was a thing and you could do it and really not intending to step into any sort of leadership, position in a project. That wasn't something I was really planning to do. As things evolved, the ReddCoin team actually had held one of the first ICOs in the space, raised a bit of money, spent through it in that first year and sort of said, you know what, we're on to other things. we're just going to turn the code loose and abandon the project. My current tech lead, John Nash, who's my brother from another mother down there in Sydney, Australia, um, was the most junior developer at the time, agreed to keep the project going on a volunteer basis because there was so much potential to that. And I didn't say when ReddCoin was spun up, it was created as a currency that worked better for that sort of tipping than Bitcoin. That was really the key. That it has a 1 minute block time. It's 10 times faster than Bitcoin. It has a very low fee structure. Simple transactions are actually free with zero fees, which is pretty radical in terms of how you move money around. It's after the first year, it's a staking protocol. So you can actually earn a return just by holding coins and securing the network. And there's plenty of them. There's billions of coins rather than millions. So all of that really set the stage for a coin that could be a representation of social currency. And that's really how we branded ourselves. But what's different about ReddCoin is we didn't benefit the current project from those ICO funds, other than the initial launch and fair distribution, which is hard to accomplish in this space. And that's why people do hold ICOs. So we've never been a profit-driven project. We're a volunteer group. We're unfunded, although we've adjusted our protocol, our staking protocol, to actually take a small amount of funds to help support the project. We went through an evolution with that, and being an all volunteer and unpaid project means we only benefit if the project succeeds. There's no hidden incentive to sort of make the price go up so we can dump all our coins and go on. Mm-hmm. And that really leads to what ReddCoin is. It's an example of what could be if we sort of stick to what it was originally meant to. And all of the scam and all of the rug pulls and the theft and the fraud in this space has really layered over groups like ReddCoin or other projects, whether I'm associated with them or not, that are doing awesome work. And that, to me, that's the most important part of what I'm doing in this space, is sort of trying to clear away some of that garbage and the fear and the fact that people are really still getting scammed right and left from lack of knowledge and lack of education. So ReddCoin is, again, meant to be a source of that education, whether we're paying for it, whether we're just out there speaking. We were at DEF CON a year or two ago, which is the world's largest security conference. We were the first cryptocurrency to actually run a capture the flag event there. And it's all really in the name of education and engagement and bringing people into the space and letting them be, a bit safe and a bit comfortable and having at least some sort of resource to go. There's no 800 number you can call in this space when things go bad. We try to encourage people to sort of partner up and share that knowledge and where possible, build those structures to help people, because again, we don't as a space grow unless all of that happens. So ReddCoin is definitely not your typical project. We have very much targeted the sort of content creator micro transaction revenue stream, if you will. We built a couple of projects like ReddShare, which is its own adventure and was meant to serve the music community. We've got tipping bots out there on various platforms that you can just give people ReddCoin in exchange for whatever it is that you feel is, valuable. That's really our mission. That it's taking the sort of the ugly layer off of that's accumulated on crypto and on blockchain and on DeFi, and helping people navigate much more so than just being another option to pay people with. And I think that's what sets us apart and makes us different. And we've written in that, as part of our red paper, well, many people call them white paper, we wrote a red paper, that covers our protocol, our staking, how we have constructed our community. And it is, an amazing community. And it also covers the fact that we committed as part of our protocol to donate back 10% of our funds to the community for folks that have had issues, lost wallets, grandma formatted their computer maybe, and they're just stepping into the space. Now all their money's gone. That's no way to really help people adopt what we're doing. So again, as part of our environment and blockchain ecosystem, we've crafted this piece where you can come to our team and say, look, this happened. And if we can validate that, we'll help take care of you. We also donate 10% purely to charity events, again, because that's all of this is not corporate, it's not financial, it's community, it's social, it's sharing not just money and value and payments. It really is, and we talk about this quite a bit in ReddCoin. It's sharing love. It's telling people distant from you, hey, I value you X amount. It is a way of sharing love and telling people you care. And frankly, there's a huge chunk of that underlies what ReddCoin is and how we've built it, simply to give people an avenue to reach out and connect with people in this day and age where everybody's fragmented and lonely and challenged by everything. We also wanted to build it into a bit of a social movement to incorporate that same kind of attitude and activity. And so we did. We call that Project Red. That's an offshoot of ReddCoin as a blockchain and as a crypto. And I know I'm running off at the mouth here, and I can certainly toss it back to you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That was great, man. That was great. That was all amazing. Wow, man. Yeah, a couple things you said there, man. Like back in the days, the good old days when it wasn't as many scams and rug pulls. I'm pretty sure it was. But just hearing you talk about that and talk about how it's like, hey, we was using this currency to pretty much trade, different goods and services and things of that nature. Just the simplistic view of what it is like and what it's supposed to be. But like you said, over the years, it all gets watered down. The main message gets lost in there somewhere. But I feel like we're pretty much on our way back. Like we're on our way back to that. But we gotta like kind of swim through this sewage, like all of this sewage.
Yep. No, crypto winter has a great way of shaking out those folks quite a bit. But when
Yeah.
things turn back, they'll be back. It's there's this whole space goes in waves and cycles, and the old saying, when in doubt, zoom out. Goes for price, goes for sentiment, goes for all of the cycles of
Yeah.
scams too. But yeah, it really is a fairly unique space to work in, and the truth is, everybody has their little bit of knowledge and is a little bit uncertain, and people need to ask questions. Don't take things on faith. Don't trust that people have your best interest in mind, but you have to explore. Just do it safely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man, ReddCoin sounds absolutely amazing, man. It sounds great. It sounds amazing. Um, so let's talk about the tokenomics. Let's talk about some of the tokenomics of the ReddCoin. Um,
Sure.
so how many total do we have out there right now, and how many do you guys plan on distributing, and then what's the breakdown of the distribution as well?
Well, what's interesting about ReddCoin is, and when you talk about tokenomics,
Hmm.
typically you're talking about tokens.
Hmm.
ReddCoin is not a token.
Okay.
ReddCoin, as a fork of originally Litecoin, we're following the Bitcoin code base now,
Okay.
and we've actually incorporated up to Bitcoin 0.22, which is their release as of a year ago. So we do follow all that security and feature updates, and it's a rather nice thing to be able to rely on the folks working hard at Bitcoin over there.
Hmm.
But fundamentally, in terms of the way the network works, um, there were coins. There are at this point, I think, about 31.5 billion coins in existence. We have been active since 2014, traded on exchanges really since that point, on and off. We've lost listings from the evolution, people going out of business, things like that.
Hmm.
But Bittrex is our major market, and you can find us there at the moment, as well as some other smaller ones. And we focused more on trying to target some of the evolving dexes that address coins like ours, because you can very easily add a token to any given dex. For coins like ours that are what are called UTXO, unspent transaction output blockchains, which is sort of the other side of the coin from the Ethereums and the Polygons. Those are all EVM blockchains. Um,
Yeah.
UTXO blockchains it requires a little bit of work to connect that blockchain to whatever it is, whether it's an exchange or a wallet or what have you. So we are, just to finish that thought, going to be up on Atomic Dex, which is a product of the Komodo Coin platform team. Great guys, great tech. It is an actual DEX, so no opportunities for things like FTX. and coins being looted, and
Hmm.
that's always been an objection to mine, that people go and put coins on exchanges and lose them. I personally have been a victim of that myself. I think you don't get into the space. That's how you become a veteran, by getting burned there and losing something on some storage platform. But getting back to your original question about the tokenomics and how it works, ReddCoin is a staking platform, proof of stake. We
Hmm.
have our, I don't like the word bespoke, but unique, customized staking consensus algorithm, proof of stake velocity, which incorporates, again, looking at the social currency and tipping. A lot of folks tend to hoard coins because of value going up, and when you stake coins, typically most staking algorithms, and we borrowed from some of the original names, Purecoin and Namecoin, really back in the day, and actually other projects have borrowed from us. But that staking algorithm does a few things. The original version of it allowed for, or it was expected to allow for, 5% growth. um, there was originally, when we were a proof of work chain, there were mining rewards, typical that you would expect, from a Bitcoin-like chain. That ended in the first year. So at this point, we are entirely a proof of stake and very well distributed proof of stake network. Um, Initially was a 5% return annually just for holding coins in the wallet. We use staking as an actual security mechanism, not a financial tool to lock up liquidity and play those
Hmm.
games that, again, the more you dig into what staking is in some of the other chains, you see it's a little bit of a ploy really to just push the financial value. For us, it's an integral part of the security. We can't have a blockchain without our stakers out there signing blocks, because those are essentially our Bitcoin miners. Um, and it there's no lockup, there's no restriction on what you can do with your coins beyond, I think a couple of hours to validate stake payments. But those rewards are distributed directly into your wallet, no intervention from the team, it's from the blockchain. um, and the intent was for those, I think at the time it was 28 billion coins, to continue growing 5% year over year. And what we found after doing a number of years of analysis, again, we've been around so long, we've got a lot of data to look at, and we saw we weren't growing at that 5%. So we actually spent about a year trying to figure out, how do we stabilize the network, address our financial needs as an unfunded project,
Hmm.
and draw people back from storing coins on the exchange. And we came up with a customized sort of what we called our version 2 of POSV, which did three pretty unique things. First of all, it looked at that 5% growth, and we were achieving about 2% a year. Um, Individuals would get closer to 5%, but the network itself was only growing at 2%. Because as we found out, if only 20% of your network is staking and the rest are sitting on an exchange or in, idle wallets, it affects the way coins are emitted on our network as they would, in any kind of staking scenario. So we looked at that and said, well, if only 20% are staking, I think it was closer to 50, but regardless, why don't we multiply it times 5 and normalize that number to where it should be, and reward the folks who actually are staking? So we put that out to the community and realized at the same time, because everybody's rewards would be going up, that we could, if everybody agreed, again, openness, transparency, honesty, we're not trying to screw anybody. If we could take a percentage of those funds and put them in a dev wallet, that would pay our server bills. That would start to feed the project instead of it being out of our devs' pockets. And really, we did that method for a while, crowd funds, and it's just not tenable. It doesn't work. So the community agreed, great idea, will be a self-funded project. I think there's only one or two others out there that are doing anything like that through their protocol. Dash is one of them, a privacy coin. If you haven't heard of it, fantastic tech. There's a couple others out there. But we had to, again, because it's a proof of stake network and our team holds no stake, took it up as volunteers, we had to encourage 90% of the community to get on board with that proposal. And we did. We created a super majority. It wouldn't have activated without it. And at that point, it switched to this new staking proposal in which you can earn up to 25%, depending on the conditions of the network. Right now, I think we're about 12 or 13 APY, but if everybody were to flee the network, that would almost double to incorporate, to accommodate what's happening on the network. So that affects the user returns. If you're staking on ReddCoin, you can drop 1 million ReddCoin in a wallet, and a year later, you'll have 1 million.1. But the network itself is still only growing at 5%. So it's a very modest rate. It's a little bit of growth, but it accounts for what's unique in this space about, lost wallets and things like that, that coins really do disappear out of the available pool. So we've essentially taken that as a nice, reasonable number. There are coins out there that said, hey, we'll do something similar, but 100% return or 500% return. We didn't think that was realistic. And as it turns out, most of those folks have run themselves into the ground for that short term, little sugar. We've tried very hard to take a very longer term look with all of that and figure out how can we be here for the long term and really build these tools that will just keep working. They're not anything we make money off of. It's tools to take a payment, send a payment. We've tried. Our flagship product is hybridized with identity so that you can register a name and not have to worry about complex, here's my wallet address that I have to copy and paste to you, and it's just this long, unintelligible string of letters and numbers. We've tried to link up with the identity concept enough that it takes that out of the picture and links to all your social networks and your identities there. That's still very much a work in progress. We're constantly on the lookout for volunteers, by the way. If anybody's excited about, what I'm talking about and what ReddCoin's done and what we're going to do, definitely reach out. We love folks who are passionate, technical, non-technical. It does take all kinds. And, we're open to people working with us if you want the experience and the expertise that comes from working with an original crypto project. It really is a lot of fun. All of that to say, building this stuff has been an evolution. So a lot of our kind of under the radar flight has been getting to that point where it's not just all beta software, it's not just all in testing. We have a small group, so it's a long slog to get certain things done. But we are here for the long haul, and the tokenomics are certainly a piece of it. It's meant to be a reward. It's meant to be a win-win-win for anybody involved, whether it's the dev team, someone who's staking, or a content creator who's just using it. We don't want to take anything from you. We don't want our fee from what your action is. It's just that's been done to death and it doesn't work. Mm-hmm. So that's what ReddCoin is. So it's a bit of a financial tool. It's a bit of a social, octopus, but it's meant to be really a reflection of how things are changing in the space that we're talking about, social network and payments and remittances and all that kind of stuff. And really to give some power back to the folks who deserve it, not these centralized monoliths that happen to get there first. That again is what ReddCoin is about. It's about bypassing those restrictions and being privacy oriented. If not, we're not a privacy coin, it is a public ledger. But some of the tech we've put in, including the latest Bitcoin work with Taproot, is meant to provide more privacy, combining transactions, hiding multi-sig details, things like that. Mm-hmm. Not because most people care about them or will use them, but because some will. And that's very important to us, that we honor those sort of ethics where we came from, that it is user focused. We're not looking to mine data and sell that and package it and put ads on things. And it's very much the opposite of that. So we've attracted some great talent. We've had talent move on to other projects and other companies. I think we placed one of our front end guys at Google by accident. But it really is, it's a bit more than your typical financial project. One thing that again, John Nash and I are the two leads that have kept it, thriving and growing, as we like to think. It's a passion project. It's something special. And it reflects what crypto was. And there are a bunch of projects out there. Again, Digibyte, I mentioned before, big fan, check them out too. They're not what ReddCoin is, but they're honorable and awesome on their own. And there's tons of projects out there that if you take the time to dig and really look, instead of seeing what popped up in your feed or your DMs or your ad today, it makes a difference what you're investing in and what you're buying into and what you're agreeing with. ReddCoin is, we're not looking to make anybody rich unless we can make everybody rich.
Mm.
Reasonable? I have no idea, but that's where we are.
No, I think that's very reasonable, man. That's very admirable. Um, I like to call this, I wouldn't even call it a passion project. I would call it a heart chakra project
Yeah,
because it's really coming from a loving space and really caring for people and not just saying, oh, like you say, 100x this, 10x that is really not about that. It's really giving people a tool to leverage to show an amount of kindness for someone else in their contributions to a community. And I feel like that will go a long way. Just a simple gesture like that, right? And I just love the whole ambiance of what you guys are creating over there. Um because it's man, like you said, right? You talk about the old days and how it was. Well, in this day and age, you mentioned that it's so many rug pulls and so many scams and things like that, right? That but there is there's a light in the end of the tunnel of that, because it's like that's what makes you guys shine so much, right? And like I said, I was in the middle of a Twitter space and I heard this project and I'm like, what is this? And why haven't I ever heard of it? And now, we're on a YouTube interview right now just because
exactly.
I was at the right space at the right time and I heard it. And I feel like this project is going to continue to do the same thing. It's going to continue to get to the people that need to get the message. And that message will be passed on. They will not they will not hear you out and then be like, oh man, yeah, that's cool, I'm gonna go to the next thing. The people that is getting to is gonna get to the people who it really resonates with. And that's all you really want at the end of the day. You're not asking for everyone in the entire crypto market to be a part of the project, only the ones that actually care. You know what I mean? And I think I think that's amazing, man. Like, that's very admirable. And
Thank you.
and I can definitely relate to that because that's what I do, man. That's why I do what I do, um, because this is what I love to do, right? This is what I love to do, and I continue to do that and continue to spread that amount of love, right? It's bound to come back. It's bound to
Exactly.
come back.
Exactly. And it is that reflection of love. You're putting work and love into what you do. There should be, as a content creator, a way for somebody to go, you know what? I absolutely dig that. I'm behind what you're doing. Here's $5. But there isn't, because you're too small,
Mm.
or the next guy is too small. You have that bar at Twitch, at Twitter, at all these monolithic social outlets that everybody's clamoring to get exposure on, where until you've made it, you can't make it. And that's not fair.
It's
So a
not.
big part of where we came from with all of these crypto tools is, let's look out for the little guy. Let's figure out a way to take that middleman piece away from PayPal or Patreon or whoever it is that's just sitting there taking a chunk. It's our power, it's our content, it's our data, it's our information. Why aren't we getting paid for it? That's what drives what ReddCoin does, and really what spurred crypto into being a thing to begin with. When the 2008, the financial collapse, banks haven't gotten any better at doing what they're doing, and now they're spreading into crypto and corrupting some of that. We've really just tried to, out of the best of our hearts, to say how can we apply this tech and make things just a bit better in this little way. We're not going to take over the world, but if I can figure out a way to pay that dude with the phone post $1,000, and 20 other people will too, that's going to change his life. Or
Mhm.
some artist that's got the best song you've ever heard out on whichever little, Rumble or PeerTube or some corner it's never going to get seen, they can get paid. That, to me, that's life changing. From mini nano, create content creators, way up until, the product that we built as RedShare was actually brought to us by a band, popular Twitch streamer named, band is called Glowstick Willie.
Mhm.
I thoroughly recommend them if you want to check them out. GLOSTIK Willie, big
Okay.
fans. They're part of the Redhead group too, and they came to us and said, we've got an audience. We're doing our thing through Twitch. We're trying to get bigger and get that information out there. we had an idea about our own cryptocurrency platform paying our fans to share the word. But we realized starting our own crypto was kind of ridiculous, and ReddCoin's a perfect fit, and we've been part of that community forever. Let's do this. And we built, I believe it's still up, redshare.com, which is a micro content creator, share with your fans, put a pool of ReddCoin up there, let your fans share your concert or posting or bill, whatever it might be about your band, and let them get a couple of ReddCoin they can cash out and buy a burger with. It was as simple as that. We built it. It's out there as a proof of concept. And it's really that simple an idea of, I don't need PayPal or Visa or Amex or all these companies that are going to take 5, 10, 20% of whatever I'm putting through there.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't I just pay my fan to promote? Why am I paying a promoter 20% or whatever the industry is? Why am I paying an agent to do things that they're not even doing well? All of these applications of take the money direct to the people doing the work, whether it's music, it's art, it's writing, it's even outside the artistic space and everything else. That's really, to me, and you can hear it in my voice, that's where the excitement about what crypto can do. We've partnered with folks who are doing industrial automation. VE Framework is a partner of ours that does microcontrollers in factories, and you can use ReddCoin as an enabler for factory optimization. I don't know who would except for factory owners, but the fact that you can do that with what's a pretty run-of-the-mill, payment option, trustless, decentralized, to me, that's already turning things upside down. If you can tip a driver, you can tip anybody you want to pass a little extra to outside the system. That's what ReddCoin's for. It's also really what Bitcoin is for and has struggled with, and a lot of the other cryptos. We simply picked up on some of the pain points like fees and speed. All of that's obviously evolving, but it's changing the way we think about things. Why tip your driver if he's delivering before he gets here? See if he does a good job. I'll send you some coins in a minute. Oh, you didn't get them? You're back at my door. Right, here you go. It's that kind of piercing into everyday life that it's confusing tech, but the applications are very simple and very, sort of enabling. I'm very proud that ReddCoin has been a part of this space as long as we have, as long as it has. And frankly, we've tried to be sort of a steward of what is a piece of this space and its history, not claiming, our dev team owns ReddCoin and we'll do what we want. And that itself kind of honors the way the space has been built. And it's for that reason, ReddCoin has been very much a door opener. We have, much like Fight Club, there's redheads everywhere. They just don't talk about it. But we'll get on calls with people and, oh, I had ReddCoin as my first coin. I love it. That's who we are. It's to catalyze that original, I can send this to you and you can spend it and we'll both be happy, done. It's not more complicated than that.
Yeah, man, it's extremely dope, man. I love it. I love it. And yeah, man. So we're winding down. We're definitely winding down this interview. This is amazing, man. I love this project. I love what you guys are doing over there. I can tell you guys are passionate and you really care about this project and you want to see it, do well. Let me ask you this real quick. Is there any way, like, if I wanted to make a ReddCoin tip jar, like on my website, could I do that?
Sure. We have a couple of different plugins. The key at this point really has been tying it to the identity side of things. And we've tried to be very smart about how we've done that because of the evolution that we've seen, again, from the benefit of a little bit of perspective. There was, let's tip on websites, and there are a lot of solutions for doing that with just an address. There's plugins you can Google right now in Firefox and Chrome that'll let you do that with ReddCoin and with some others. Okay. What we have tried really to do is to extend that into that identity linkage so that it makes it easier for people to use. And especially now that there's been a bit of a shift from the, I want to use Twitter, Facebook, all the standard, social networks to what's being called decentralized identity, to the Fediverse and Mastodon and things that people are starting to hear about. And that's a separate sort of area of tech. But a lot of that revolves around very similar themes as ReddCoin. If ReddCoin is a decentralized, let's say, payment and reward system, Mastodon and ActivityPub are a decentralized social network and data feed. So what we're trying to do is step into that space as well and provide a reliable out of band third party sort of payment mechanism for anybody, not just on Twitter or Facebook or these siloed walled gardens that people have clustered in, but everywhere else. And that includes basically having connectivity to WordPress and to Shopify and to the e-commerce plugins, and and all of that also is making that easier for people to use. So I certainly don't claim that we are at full commercial software level. We are still, as a space, I would say, in continuous beta.
Mm-hmm.
But you certainly could do that today. You can create a website that shares wallets and does things like that, or you could just use it as a way to collect ReddCoin from folks, and again, cash it out, pay your mortgage with it. I have been fully in crypto for a decade plus at this point, and it is workable. You can if you use crypto instead of speculating with it, it's a different experience, and that's really where we've tried to land. That ReddCoin and lots of other projects as well. Obviously, we're not maximalists by any means. ReddCoin is usable. There's a thing you can do with it, and I think that's critical. So it was a good question. I know I went way off the path with it, but
you're good.
That really is the key. Can you get paid with it? Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And that was really the question. It was really just the question to simplify.
Exactly.
But all right. So with that being said, man, before we get out of here, I would like to thank you so much for coming by the channel and sharing all of your knowledge and expertise in your field. You greatly appreciate it. Before we get out of here, is there any shout outs you want to make?
I would basically say, I mean, I typically, I like sharing the wealth, and when we all, like they say, rising tide floats all boats.
Mm-hmm.
I say it a lot. I will continue to say it. There are some great projects, great examples of the technology in use out there, and that really, to my mind, is where the exciting part is. I've been, as I told you, I think privately before, maybe, I'm on the board of advisors for the Digibyte Alliance. DGB is another long-standing, original private chain that really is just well put together. They're doing something a bit different than what ReddCoin is, and I absolutely respect that. I love the entire team there. That's one I would certainly give a shout out to. My friends at Fresh Credit I've been working with recently, and of course, Devin there at Fresh Credit, good guy. Team amazing, doing credit scores on the blockchain, as opposed to relying on the big houses. One of which was it Experian, I think, just released an announcement of another hack yesterday.
Oh wow.
That's another industry that needs to be just dumped on its head and all the garbage taken out of it. And middlemaning everything poorly is a bad way to run a business. Again, you see ideas sometimes and they light fires, and you go, that's going to be something. Fresh Credit for sure is one of them. Ethos and their associated partners, working with Dr. Jamila there, just really out of the need to connect with people who are enthusiastic and passionate and happy about all this. And I would say, it's a pleasure hanging out with you and chatting. Anybody who's watching, if you'd like to connect and chat, or if I can add something to what you're doing, please reach out. I'm about that, even though I tend to be a bit of a social recluse. I'm out on these channels all the time, so I don't know what to call myself, but it's fun. I love dealing with, good questions, good insight, people who really want to learn, and that's how the space grows. So it has been a lot of fun. I love doing episodes like this, and if you want to invite me back, I am happy to come at any time. And in case I didn't give him a shout out, because I don't think I did, big fan of Potcoin as well, which is figuring out its way in the cannabis space. Another OG project from back in the day. And again, very, very much like us. And in fact, they share our staking protocol on their native chain. That's a space that has so much potential for the little guy or girl to really carve out their piece of what was, forbidden cannabis. Oh no, that's exploding into the real business world and as actual corporate opportunities now. There's some validity to really figuring out how to fix those problems, the banking issues that that industry faces. And so again, it's a use case that just feels good. As a cannabis fan my entire life, again, I'm going to be well behind that. And again, it's anybody in this space that's really doing good work. Again, shout out to my longtime friends at Change Angel, smaller exchange that deserves some absolute love. There's good folks across the space. I know I'm forgetting people. It's like an Oscar Awards show. Somebody's going
Yeah.
to beat me up after. But the truth is, this space is, this cryptosphere is what you make of it. And I've connected with some awesome people. I've avoided in my own brain a lot of the noise and the hype and it's what you make of it. If that's what you want to be out there doing, hyping and making noise, fantastic. Or you could build, or you could really, make something happen. If you have ideas, dive on them. Reach out to folks like me or our host, make them come to life. That's really why we're all here. And it is very exciting. And whatever I can do to help folks get there, that's why I'm here.
Okay. Okay. All right. Those great shout outs, man. Great shout outs. But yeah, shout out to everybody watching. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. And this was an interview with Jay Tech Adept Laurence. And once again, I appreciate you coming to the channel. But with that being said, this is your boy Awesome as JL, aka the biggest music artist in the metaverse. And don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe. And we are signing off.